Hello again, this is Miss Darcy from the Darcy Way, coming to you right from the classroom again. I'm just coming in to make a quick video on a resource that you may find helpful for your classroom. I find it to be very helpful. I've been using it since I started teaching, and I think it is a great tool to have on hand when working with your students. And again, this video is for new teachers, veteran teachers, any teacher that is looking for extra tools or tools to make their classroom run smoother on a daily basis. Okay, timer. This little handy little tool right here is what I use in my classroom every single day. My students are used to it by now. All the students that I've had since I've been teaching know Miss Darcy loves her timer. Yes, I use this timer for bell work. That's when we first come in the classroom. The first 5 minutes is dedicated to bell work. And I set my timer, 5 minutes. They know when the timer goes off, work is over. And then we go on to go over the bell work. And after that, we go on and start our lesson for today. I also use it during my lesson if I have the students to do an activity or a strategy like think, write, pair, share. I time them on every part. Have about 2-3 minutes to think and write, and then they have another 3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes to pair with a partner, and then they also write down what they're going to share with the class, and then from there we go on to share. I also set my timer for the sharing part as well, so we won't go over time or spend too much time on the sharing, especially in science. You know, kids love to discuss and they have so many questions in science. So to not go over my time, because science here is only 50 minutes. So I try to keep everything within the time frame, and that way I can cover all parts of the lesson. You want a beginning, a middle, and you want the end. The end, you want to make sure you have time to close out the lesson. So this tool comes in handy. All right. Other than discussion, because I try to do think, write, pair, share once or twice because it takes a good little while. So not too many times throughout the lesson, but I try to fit it in almost daily because it gives the students time to talk and to pair up with a partner. It could be a friend, but it makes the class less boring, if you know what I mean. Okay, activities like cutting out. For fifth grade, cutting things out can be a rough one. It's just that the students, they want to make sure the lines are perfect, and they want to cut the cutting out cards for math or for science. They want to make sure the lines are perfect. So we don't have all that time to get everything just right. So I want them to cut it out so we can move on. This little tool, the timer, comes in handy for that as well. Set a time, not only set it, but also let them know how much time they have. And this is all the time you have. Once this timer goes off, I'm gonna have my little helper for the day is gonna pick up the scissors, and that is it. If your time runs out, they can, maybe finish cutting it out at home. But we're gonna work with what we have. But that's all the time that we have for that. So cutting out is another one you may want to use a timer for. And also, let me add that there are other timers. I use this one. I've had this one for years. But there are timers online, especially on YouTube. You can find wonderful timers. If I want something just more fun than this, or I want them to see the time, if you're the type of teacher where you want the students to see the time, or your students are working in a group and you have one as a timekeeper, they need to see the time. So you can put it up if you have a something to project it on, smartboard or Promethean board, or I have a board. I don't know exactly what you call it yet, but it's a nice little board. It's basically a computer. So I don't know exactly the name of it. I'm sorry about that. I'll find it out. But it is a good board. Yeah, of course, I use it every day. But I pull up YouTube and I find a nice timer. For example, our next holiday coming up is Mardi Gras here in Louisiana. Um, you can find a Mardi Gras timer. Also, you may be able to find one. I haven't looked for one. That's a good idea. I may find one for Black History Month, but there are awesome timers on YouTube. So you may want to use that. And like I said, the timekeeper can keep the time when they see it on the board, because the rest of them will be busy doing their part in the group. And you can have the timekeeper keeping track of the time, and you won't have to do that. Okay, so that's timers and where you can find more. Also, I use my timer. This is how I started. Like I've said in previous videos, we use what is it? Great Minds, Eureka Math Squared for math. So it's the curriculum. So we have different parts. We start off with the fluency, then we have the launch, then there's the learn part, and then we have the land. So when I first started in Eureka Math Squared, I wanted to make sure I did all parts of the lesson in one day instead of having to come in and finish out a lesson. So to keep track, every part they already have the recommended time, or the time that it should take you to complete each part is already in the module. So what I do is use this. I set it for each little time, and when that timer goes off, I stop. Well, doesn't matter where I am at that part, I wrap it up and move to the next part. And that way I can stay on pacing, the district pacing, and also the pacing with the curriculum. So that was very helpful in the beginning. Now that I've been working with it for a while, I basically know about how much time, so I don't use my timer as much with the lesson, but different parts in the lesson, like the strategies that I may use, I use it for that. But as far as different sections of the lesson, I don't use it as much. But anyway, those are different ways that you can use this little handy dandy tool for your classroom and keeping everything organized, structured, and on pacing. If you all use a pacing at your school, you may want to invest in this, or like I said, pull it up online. And it should help you if you are working on time management, because that was one of my biggest problems when I first started teaching time management. The bell used to catch me all the time. And then when you're rushing, trying to get the students out, and you know, especially students in 5th grade, they tend to move slow. You know, they want to take their time and pack up, but you're trying to get them out because you want them to be on time for the next class. And then you want your other class that's coming in to be on time. You want to start that class on time. So I had a huge problem with time management when I first started teaching. But the more I got used to this and I started using it more, I saw where it was helpful, and it's year 15 and I'm still using it. So you may want to incorporate it in your classroom if you haven't already started. So that's all I have for you today. That's the Darcy way. Thank you.